Strap in, buckle up, and get ready to lay it on the line. This is Not Speeding, Just Qualifying, a podcast that's just as fast as it sounds. What's good, family? Welcome to an all-new episode of the Not Speeding, Just Qualifying podcast. I'm your host, David Lawrence. Thank you so much for putting me in your ears today. Before we get started, just your friendly reminder to like, subscribe to us on YouTube or YouTube Music, whichever you prefer. You can also follow us on our social media handles. We'll give you those at the end of the episode. Today, we have so much racing action to review. It's going to be a straightforward, all up to TEMP episode, recapping this massive weekend of racing across the globe, and we are going to start abroad. Let's start in the United Arab Emirates, particularly the Emirate of Abu Dhabi, the season finale of the 2024-25 Asian Le Mans Series. 2 4-hour races at the Yas Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi to determine the Asian Le Mans Series champions. Saturday, the victory went to the number 25 Algarve Pro Racing Team in LMP2 win overall. RLR M Sport taking their second consecutive win in LMP3. And the Manthey EMA Porsche team, that team with American businessman Ryan Hardwick, taking the victory in GT. Sunday's season finale saw the number 83 AF Corsa team take the victory in LMP2 and overall. The Danish high-class racing team took the victory in LMP3. And Manthey Racing taking the win in GT, and I will talk about that one in a minute. So after Sunday night's 6th and final 4-hour race of the season, we have 3 champions and 3 berths to give out. In LMP2, victory to the number 25 Algarve Pro Racing Orica, the trio of Malfi Jakobsen, Michael Jensen, and Valerio Rincella taking the spoils in LMP2, but primarily these are team championships, so these are the drivers that actually did all 6 races in their respective cars. In LMP3, the champions are the number 26 Breton Racing Team of Czechia, Theodor Jensen and Jens Renault Moller, the duo that did the entire 6-race championship, will be credited as the quote-unquote drivers' champions there. And you heard me mention Manthey Racing's number 10 Porsche, who started the day 10 points out of the lead, a 17-point swing, and a win in the season finale gives the number 10 Manthey Porsche and drivers Andreas Au, Klaus Bachler, and Joel Strum the Asian Le Mans Series GT title. As I mentioned in last week's episode, these 3 teams will earn invitations to June's 24 Hours of Le Mans. Algarve Pro Racing and Breton Racing will receive invitations to compete in the LMP2 category, while Manthey will receive an entry to compete in the LMGT3 class. Congratulations to all on not just an amazing weekend of racing, but a well-earned championship conquest season in the Asian Le Mans Series. We look forward to that season kicking up later this winter. From Abu Dhabi, we now head to Saudi Arabia and rounds 3 and 4 of the FIA Formula E World Championship. So this will be my first time mentioning Formula E. And you're like, David, what is Formula E? Basically, it's a smaller version of Formula One with all-electric vehicles, one chassis, but you have powertrains from multiple manufacturers. Just for example, Porsche, Maserati, Jaguar, and Nissan all build electric powertrains for Formula E. And the teams are no slouch either. Andretti Global, McLaren, yes, that same McLaren from Formula One and IndyCar, and Lola, a famed manufacturer of sports cars and prototypes, are returning to the fold of motorsports with help from Yamaha, also building a powertrain this season. The series has already gone through 2 races. The season kicked off in December at Sao Paulo, Brazil. If you're an IndyCar fan, they actually raced it on part of the layout that was used for the old IndyCar race in Sao Paulo, the street race that was. Mitch Evans of Jaguar took the opening win in Brazil. Last time out in Mexico City in January, it was Oliver Rowland driving for Nissan taking the victory and the championship points lead coming into this weekend's action in Saudi Arabia. So let's start. Again, 2 races, one on Friday, one on Saturday. The first race on Friday was quite the thriller with an insane last lap pass. Maximilian Gunter for DS Penske, and no, not Roger Penske, but his son, Jay Penske, also has a Formula E team. They took the win in Friday's first race. Oliver Rowland, the championship leader for Nissan, finishing second, and one of Formula E's rookies as showing very much, Taylor Barnard, driving for McLaren, finished on the podium in third. The rookie Barnhart would continue to impress as he took pole position for Saturday's round 4 of the championship. But from lights out, and literally from start to finish, it was dominated by Oliver Rowland of Nissan, literally leading the entire way to lead a British 1, 2, 3, 4. Rowland again, the dominant victor. Barnard from the pole second, and JQ's driving for Maserati, rounding out the podium in third. After the Jeddah doubleheader, Rowland now on 68 points, Barnard second on 51, and Antonio Felix da Costa rounds out your top 3 in points, this despite only scoring points in Friday's race 1 of the weekend. Next race for Formula E, they will take a 2-month break before returning for their one and only trip to the United States. They return to Miami, but not on the streets as they did in the very first season of Formula E. They will go to a place very familiar to NASCAR fans, Homestead Miami Speedway. The Miami E-Prix, as the races are known, will take place on April 12th. Now let's bring it stateside. Let's hit the dirt. Round 6 of the 2025 Monster Energy AMA Supercross Championship brings us to Motown. Ford Field in Detroit was the site for the 6th race of the 450s and the second round of the 250 East season. Let's start with those lower 250 stroke machines. And this race was a symbolism of the adage, it is not over till it's over. Poor Max Anstey. Literally, from the gate drop on the feature, took the lead, ran away, and was almost home free, but literally with less than 10 seconds left, Cam McAdoo fell off his bike, had a big accident, was not quick to get up, and the race was red flagged, literally with seconds on the clock, setting up a 3-lap sprint to the finish, and Levi Kitchen of Kawasaki took absolute advantage, overtaking Amsty on the restart and holding off the championship leader to take the win in a who saw that one coming type of finish. Rounding out the podium in third was RJ Hampshire. For the 450s, this one saw an awesome duel between Cooper Webb of Yamaha and Ken Roczen of Suzuki. The two veterans keeping each other honest throughout the 20-minute main event, but with a little over a minute to go, it was Cooper Webb stalking Roczen, gaining the advantage for good, going on to take his first feature win of the season. The big story, though, Chase Sexton, the championship leader, fell on the opening lap and had to race the rest of the feature in recovery mode, but came back to grab a crucial podium in third. With that podium, combined with Cooper Webb's win, Webb and Sexton leave Detroit tied on points. Sexton's 2 wins give him the tiebreaker in the points. Next stop for the Monster Energy AMA Supercross, Jerry World, aka AT&T Stadium in Arlington, just outside of Dallas, next Saturday night. The 250 West Series will rejoin the 450s, while the 250 East will be back with Supercross at Daytona in 2 weeks. Next Saturday's action from Arlington, you will see it all streaming live and exclusively on Peacock. Now let's get to what you guys are really here for. Opening weekend of the NASCAR season, 4 races over 3 days, and boy, what a headline do we have. Let's start with the Fresh from Florida 250 at Daytona Friday night. Hectic race with 30 lead changes amongst 12 drivers, and the big one is a very frequent story. Friday night, 2 big wrecks in the last 20 laps. When the field wrecked on the overtime restart, first on the road, first to the flag, Parker Kligerman in Henderson Motorsports. What looked to be a feel-good story was very short-lived. In post-race tech inspection, it was found that the number 75 Henderson Motorsports Chevy Silverado was deemed too low. The truck and Parker were effectively disqualified. However, as of this recording, the team is appealing the disqualification, so we have not heard the end of this one yet. So, as of now, the result, pending appeal, the win was inherited by Corey Heim of Tricon Garage. His rookie teammate Gio Ruggiero finishing second, and what a night this kid had. Came from 34th, led 11 laps, and was third on the road, but ending up second, at least for now, in his truck debut. Very impressive work, son. Defending champ Ty McJeski for now is third. Grant Enfinger is fourth, and Justin Haley rounding out your top 5. Again, these results are pending appeal from Henderson Motorsports on their disqualification Friday night. Saturday's doubleheader kicked off with the ARCA Menards Ride the Dente 200. Shout out to Chili's for that beautiful slogan. And this was one of the few races during Speed Weeks to actually finish under green without a wreck before the flag. I'll explain that one in a second. But for the second consecutive year, a short track ace, a late model star, breaks through at the World Center of Racing. This year, that title goes to Brendan Butterbean Queen, taking the lead with 10 laps to go and never looking back. The only 10 laps he led all day, the most important ones there were. William Sawalich finishing second, Jason Kitzmiller finishing third, LeVar Scott finishing fourth, and Helio Castroneves finishing fifth, but Helio was subject to the weirdest incident of all of Speed Weeks. After crossing the finish line, Helio was involved in an accident with 7th place finisher AJ Moyer. Moyer either not aware the race was over or had a score to settle, punting Castroneves from behind as the field entered turn 1 on the cool-down lap, giving Helio's number 82 heavy damage. But considering this was a one-off for Helio, I don't think it's going to be too many hard feelings. The second half of the doubleheader on Daytona Saturday, the United Rentals 300 kicking off the NASCAR Xfinity Series season. Biggest question going in, can Austin Hill go for the four-peat? The answer, no. After stage 2, Austin Hill suffered rear end problems that sent him to the garage, ending his day after leading what would be a race high 56 laps. In the third and final stage, 3 contenders emerged who would go on to lead the final 30-plus laps. Connor Zilic, Jesse Love, and Sheldon Creed. Would this be the day Sheldon finally got his win? Not if Jesse Love had anything to say about it. Love took the lead with 12 laps to go in the scheduled distance. He would never let go of that lead and held off the field in an overtime attempt to take the win at Daytona. The Haas factory duo of Sam Mayer and the aforementioned Creed finished third, Carson Kvapil fourth, Taylor Gray rounds out the top 5 in his JGR Toyota. Last but not least, let's cap it off with the Great American Race, the 67th Daytona 500. 56 lead changes amongst 15 different leaders, but just like the Truck Series, wrecks aplenty. 3 big ones in the last 15 laps. And boy, what a final lap, I have to tell you. William Byron starts the final lap in 9th as Austin Cindric and Denny Hamlin push the field down the backstretch. Hamlin sees his moment to get Cindric, takes the lead, but it doesn't last as a push from Cole Custer sends all 3 of them sideways. They wreck in front and the seas part for William Byron and Tyler Reddick. Give NASCAR credit, they did not throw the caution flag. They let the field race around to the finish, and unfortunately for one Tyler Reddick, he had no help from behind to try and catch Byron. And it's Willie B joining Richard Petty, Cale Yarborough, Sterling Marlin, and Denny Hamlin as men who have won back-to-back Daytona 500s. Oh, by the way, I mentioned Tyler Reddick finishing second. Give a call to 7-time Jimmy Johnson, his 699th Cup start, with Shaq riding aboard the Shaq brand, sponsoring Jimmy alongside Carvana. A third-place finish as he survives the chaos. Chase Briscoe, your pole sitter, finishing 4th. And John Hunter Nemechek puts 2 Legacy Motor Club Toyotas in the top 5. And after a crazy last season, hopefully this top 5 is the beginning of some great runs for that Legacy Motor Club team. Byron's 14th career win, his 3rd at Daytona, his 2nd Daytona 500, now joins his 1st career win at Daytona in 2020. Next up for the NASCAR Cup Series, a triple header weekend in Atlanta. You will catch the Truck Saturday on FS1, Xfinity Saturday on the CW, and Cup Series racing next Sunday on Fox. And that wraps up this Up to Temp episode of the Not Speeding, Just Qualifying podcast. Just a reminder, follow us on our socials. We're on X, IG, and Blue Sky. All are at the handle NSJQ Podcast. And like we mentioned at the start of the show, subscribe to us on YouTube. You can also find us on YouTube Music in the podcast section. You can subscribe to us there as well if you prefer that. If you want to follow me on my personal social media handles, check the description box to this episode for my handle information. Thank you guys so much for putting me in your ears today. I greatly appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed this weekend of racing. And remember, we're just getting started. The season is on. Motorsports is so back, and I can't wait to go into all of it. I'll see you next time for another episode of the Not Speeding, Just Qualifying podcast. Until then, I'm David Lawrence reminding you, you're not living life to the fullest until you're going flat out. So long, everyone.